Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. If you ever wanted to quit your job and live like a boss, you should meet this guy, Mr. Dale Beaumont. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Dale,
you. Hi,
where
guys. Pleasure
were
Good
you
to see
20
you.
years ago? I needed that information. Finally.
Yeah, it's here now. It's an awesome app that I've created. But looking forward to chatting and sharing some of my background.
So tell us, what is BizVersity?
So BizVersity is basically the Netflix for business. There's 1,000 videos that are available literally in the palm of your hand. So it's a smartphone app. Anyone can download it. Just go to BizVersity in the App Store, and then you create an account. And there's thousands of videos. So you pick and choose the ones that you need. If you need to learn about marketing, you can go straight there. Or if you need help with regards to technology, which we were speaking about before, then you can learn about technology. Basically, anything that you need is just now all in one place.
So brilliant. I mean,
it's really brilliant.
It's amazing that, it's such a simple concept, and yet no one's doing it. It's profound.
And the reason why we created it is because there is 500 million business owners around the world, and only 1% of them really have access to a business coach or a business consultant. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could create like a business advisor in a smartphone app, which is sort of what we've created with BizVersity. And what's cool about it is that you can watch the videos, but the average person spends 4 weeks a year driving around in their car or catching public transport. So we've created this little piece of technology which we call Learn Switch, where if you're watching a video, you can click a button and it switches to audio mode. And so you can just
Oh yeah, I just had this dream last night about
It's
this.
pretty cool.
This is the next thing. I know it's coming.
Yeah, and so it goes to audio mode, and then when you get out of your car and you can tap another button, and it goes back to video mode, and it just remembers your place. And we've also got a TV app as well, which is available through Apple TV, so you can download BizVersity, and it just syncs. So if you then get home and you're like at 15 minutes through a video, you click play, it'll remember where you were, and then just continue. And the other cool thing as well, it can you can watch in double speed. So if you want to watch a half an hour video in 15 minutes, you can. Yeah, so there's some really cool kind of features that we've built into the product just to make it faster and easier for people to learn.
So I'm very curious to know, did you learn how to do business through videos?
Yeah, when I started business 17 years ago, and so YouTube really wasn't around back then. So I was mainly going along to workshops and seminars, and people would sometimes sell tapes that you'd put in your car, and that's kind of how I learned, and going along to workshops, and then later on they became CDs and then DVDs, and then YouTube came along. But a lot of the videos on YouTube would tend to be different kind of quality and a little bit hit and miss, and so I thought it would be really good if there was a place where people could go which was more convenient. And the other cool thing that the app has as well is that you can, the biggest complaint that we've had about the app is people are using it so much that they're using a lot of their mobile data when they're like on the road. And so what we have now is a feature where you can basically download all of your next week's worth of content when you're at home or at your office on Wi-Fi. And then when you're driving or when you're jogging or exercising or at the gym, it doesn't use any of your mobile data. It just kind of uses the downloaded material.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of the business, of course, first of all, we are in probably the biggest shift and growth movement of entrepreneurial, movement. And so many people are interested in doing online businesses, and there's all these coaches. And I think it's interesting because if you take a look at the truth of the universe, is that it's totally abundant, and that really it's our birthright to have all this wisdom. And a lot of the coaches will charge, there's coaches that charge $40,000 for their programs, right? So this is a way that it brings it down for anybody to be able to afford it. And so how has that been? How have you honed it to know, like, where's the sweet spot and what people pay each month, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so we decided to launch it for free just to kind of get as many people using it and getting feedback around what people were looking for. And that's helped us to make some changes, like the ability to download content and that switching feature between audio and video mode were all features that were requested by users. So we've had 65,000 people now that have downloaded the app and that are using it on a regular basis. Wow. And so we're soon to launch a subscription model. So it'll still be free. People will be able to watch 2 videos a month at no cost. But then if they want to watch more than that, then it will be like a Netflix, so $9 a month, and you can access unlimited videos, and you can download, and you can switch between different modes, and you can access it on multiple devices. So yeah, we wanted it to be just like we say, the world's best education at the world's most affordable price, you know, for anyone that wants to learn business.
That's absolutely brilliant. As a fellow entrepreneur, I'm very curious to know your journey in creating this business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so how it sort of started was my background was originally in sport. I used to be a gymnast in Australia, and went to a number of different events. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons from my sporting career: hard work, discipline. And then when I kind of finished my sporting career, I just sort of felt that everyone was kind of moving too slow, and I think the only way to get ahead was just to go into business. And there's a lot of similarities, I think, between business and sport. You know, hard work and discipline and all those type of things just kind of carried over. So I had a number of different businesses that I ran in my 20s. My kind of one that I've kind of most well known for now is a business education company, but it runs, it operates through live events. So I do about 60 live events per year, which is great. But I still only get to reach my little corner of the world in Australia, which is great. But around the world, there are entrepreneurs kind of everywhere, and they don't kind of get access to a lot of the coaches and mentors and workshops that are so abundant in Australia and in America. There's lots of experts, but I've been to now 85 countries around the world, and there's, in many parts, there is no kind of events for people just kind of like struggle on their own. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there's a product that people could, everyone's now got a smartphone, even developing countries. So I thought this is the way that we could help entrepreneurs globally through a medium that everyone has access to now, which is their phone.
So interesting. What's been the most challenging part about building this particular business?
Well, the challenging thing is, like I've been running events and speaking for 16 years, but developing a technology product is a whole kind of different world. So dealing with programmers and you know, just sort of saying, oh, just move that around. It's like, it's going to take 3 hours. I'm like, just to do that, like, come on. You know, you just assume that it's just so much easier. But when you're doing stuff, like I have a little bit of experience in, you know, making changes to websites and things like that, and it's pretty easy. But developing apps is like 10 times harder than doing websites. And so it's just sometimes it's frustrating because things take longer than what you want. And then you've got a whole different way of building apps for Apple, and then Android is completely different. And so we've got nearly 1,000 videos, and they have to be all encoded differently for all the different devices and different platforms. So it's just, you know, I thought, oh yeah, this is easy. And then I thought, oh wow, this is hard.
So which courses are most consumed? Which are the most popular out of your platform?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch on how to actually start a business in there, and there's a lot of people that are still working for someone else, but they have a dream of, you know, going into their own business at some point. And I think it's great that a lot of people now, before they jump in and end up making a whole lot of mistakes, and unfortunately the failure rate of startup businesses is very, very high. So I say to people, like, start your education as early as possible. Even if you're not going to start your business for a year or 2 years time, you can be kind of learning as much as you possibly can. So that material is really popular. A lot of stuff around leadership and management is because I think a lot of people struggle when it comes to managing people. Normally they're good at their thing, you know, whether that be, you know, cutting hair or, you know, landscaping. But the moment that they grow and they need a team, they have to learn about, okay, now I've got to deal with people, and I've got to do training, and I've got to, how do I motivate people, and how do I solve challenges and problems that arise. So they've been really popular. And then also we've got a lot of stuff around technology and productivity and automation, and how to get done more with less, because business is very competitive, and unless you're being productive, you won't really survive. So that's all that material is pretty popular.
It's interesting because as I'm in the spiritual world, and it's interesting because I love the business world, I love the entrepreneur world, and people go, well, how does that go together? It's like, it absolutely goes together, because just what you said, the management, you have to be so much more developed as you're working with teams and personalities and quirks, and we're all like, we all have our flaws, you know. And so I think that business is such a profound spiritual class, to develop your own business, to develop teamwork, to develop all the technology and all the documents, and just there's so much to it. It's a fascinating world.
Totally, and sometimes I think business is like personal development in action.
Completely.
Because you have to confront your fears. You've got to step out of your comfort zone on a daily basis. You've got to do things that may be a bit uncomfortable, and it just forces you to grow and forces you to become a better person.
I absolutely love that, and it's certainly been my experience. I've learned so much about myself in making this journey into being an entrepreneur in business. What have you learned though about yourself in doing Bizversity?
Yeah, well, I think I've learned to become even more resourceful when it comes to finding smarter ways to kind of get things done. And I've also learned a lot about like a thing that I didn't even know, UX and UI design, user interface and user experience
So
stuff.
awesome.
That was a whole new world to sort of like how to plan out the actual app and how it works, because what was intuitive and instinctive for me may be completely different to someone else. So I designed something in a certain way and I develop a prototype and you'd give it to someone and it's like, can't you see that button?
Seems obvious.
Yeah, and they're like doing something different. I'm like, why are you clicking there? But once you then get 5 or 6 people, then you go, okay, well, I'm obviously the exception to the rule. So I have to go back and sort of redesign it. So that's been a whole, interesting challenge to learn. And
UX means user experience, just for those
user
people that are out
experience,
there.
yeah, and
so
UI
how do
is
they?
user
They're not going to
interface.
consume it if it's too hard or if it's not aesthetic enough or whatever it is. That's where UX is such a brilliant profession. One of my dear friends has that company. And it's just, I think it's one of the most creative areas in technology right now, because it's really what is having us interact. And I mean, technology is great, but if you don't like using it, it's not going to last, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So definitely learn a lot about discovered skills that I didn't know I had. So
Well, I'm excited to discover skills I didn't know I had on Bizversity.
Absolutely.
Tell the audience where they can find more information and download your app.
yeah, so just go to the App Store and it's Bizversity, and the first 3 letters are B-I-Z and then Versity. So it works on Apple, works on Android, Apple TV as well if you have it there, or you can go to bizversity.com and it's free to sign up and you can access all of the videos and we're really looking for feedback on what people like and what people are looking for, and we're just going to keep working to make it better and add more and more great content.
So you too can live like a boss. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.